What's the matter, Sydney? You look like you've seen a ghost.
Hey spoops, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. So today we're going to be doing my Halloween recap. If you guys are new, at the end of every Halloween season, I like to put together a little Halloween recap to kind of show a little montage of all of the Halloween looks I created in 2021, because it's really cool to see all of them put together and be like, oh, these are the 21 looks that I was able to create for the Halloween 2021 season. And then also I like to talk about some of my favorite looks to film and edit as well. Also, I want to publicly announce the Halloween giveaway winner. I did DM them and get their information on November 1st, and the package was already sent to them, so I hope that they are already enjoying the goodies that I put together. But congratulations to Mitzi Cunningham Miller. She is the winner for my Halloween giveaway this year, and it's actually really great. She's been a subscriber of mine for a while now, so that's always really cool to see whenever something like that goes to someone who has been supporting you for a while. But also it means a lot to me to all of the new subscribers who enjoyed my videos enough to subscribe to me this year. So thank you to everybody who entered. It really meant a lot to me, and honestly just having your support this entire year and Halloween season means the world to me, because this definitely is the busiest and most stressful time of the year for me, so it definitely means a lot to have your guys' support, and I'm happy that I'm producing content that you guys enjoy. So anyways, with that being said, if you guys are interested in hearing a little bit more about how the Halloween season went and some of my favorite looks to create, then just keep watching. So the categories I'm going to be talking about are my favorite SFX look to create, my favorite body paint look, my favorite beauty-esque themed look, like looks that are definitely focused a little bit more on wearable glam makeup for Halloween, and then also my favorite videos to edit. I'm also gonna throw in a little curveball. I'm gonna throw in most difficult video, just in any way, shape, or form. The video, the character that gave me the most trouble, I'm gonna start adding that as well, because I feel like that they should be talked about. Y'all get to see all the glam, but there's honestly a lot of struggles behind the scenes as well that I don't always talk about. I try to explain them to you guys in the video, like if I have any problems, but definitely there have been some issues this year. So first off, my favorite special effects look that I created this year was Ghostface. I've been so excited to do Ghostface, and honestly I'd kind of been putting it off because it is honestly just a mask, and so for the average everyday person it is cheaper and easier to just go buy a Ghostface mask. However, for me, I was like, you know what, I want to glue it to my face and make it from scratch, because I like to challenge myself or struggle. Either way. So I absolutely love how Ghostface turned out. That one was also just so much fun to film, because there were so many little quirky things that I could do as Ghostface, because to me Ghostface acts a lot like Deadpool, at least in terms of the way that Ghostface has become a meme. He reminds me a lot of Deadpool, so that was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun filming TikToks with him, and also, little struggle, I was so busy in the month of October, and this is honestly really upsetting, but I filmed over 200 TikToks and didn't post one in the month of October. Because for me, I was already so busy and so stressed trying to make sure that all of these videos were going up on time and that everything was going according to plan, that I didn't even have time to caption and post the videos that I had created while creating the characters. So I'm still posting them. I'm posting them just late. I'm posting them in November. So it's definitely a little bit of a missed opportunity, because everything is trending in October when it comes to Halloween makeup, but I just didn't have the time. And when I was going through my day having to add like post TikTok to it, especially when I created like 10 per character, I just got stressed out and I ended up not posting them. But now I'm gonna post them now, so I guess we get a little bit of post-Halloween fun stuff as well. And I mention that because I created so many goofy, silly TikToks as Ghostface just because of the character that he is. So that was so much fun to do, and so definitely keep an eye out for those on my TikTok as well. But I absolutely loved Ghostface. I did encounter some issues, and I talked about that in the video. I didn't have any white paint. and the white body paint wasn't showing up as I would like, so I ended up having to use white spray paint because I needed to get that video filmed that night, and spray paint cracks. So it cracked, but I was able to fix it because I was able to just reapply liquid latex and paint over it once it was sealed and I wasn't lifting it from the cast anymore. But it was definitely a struggle that I had that I was really worried about, that if I had just used a mixture of white acrylic paint with some body paint and liquid latex, I wouldn't have had any issues, but I just messed it up. But I still absolutely love how Ghostface turned out. Honestly, I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did, just because I am making a mask and, you know, you're using liquid latex, so trying to get a really smooth texture can be pretty difficult. But I'm really happy with how it looked, and I honestly just had so much fun doing it, and I could still see out of it. And I stayed up until like 6 a.m. filming with it because I had to take the eyepiece out after every single photo or video to make sure that I was in focus. So it was a journey, but it was well worth it. So next is favorite body paint, and I selfishly have two. I can't choose sometimes, and that's every year with these videos. I don't choose just one, I choose multiple. And so my two favorite body paints, the first one was Miss Argentina from Beetlejuice. This look really surprised me. I was so happy with how all of it turned out, from the wig to the body paint itself. I just absolutely love that look. I think everything blended really nicely, which is really great to see. I don't typically paint myself green, so that was a fun time. And the wig was absolutely beautiful. I loved that wig from Amazon, and then I was able to style it myself, and it just turned out so nice and it looked so good. The only thing I will say, the costume was amazing. I loved it. But the biggest issue is I now have glitter everywhere. I've tried to clean it up, but you guys will likely still see specks of red glitter here and there in my future videos, just because there's no way I could clean all of it up, and it is just everywhere. I literally walk around and I'm at the grocery store and I have red glitter on my face, and I'm like, I'm not even wearing makeup. So the red glitter is going to haunt me, but it's okay. It was well worth it, and I absolutely love how she turned out. I also got to listen to some of my favorite Broadway Beetlejuice jams while I was filming, so it was just a good time. And my other favorite body paint was the gender bent Hades that I did. Once again, everything about this look I was just so obsessed with, from the DIY costume to the body paint itself to the wig. I just absolutely loved all of it. I've been putting off doing Hades for so long because I've been so excited to transform myself into her. I knew I wanted to wait because I wanted to do it right, and I wanted to make sure everything looked the way that I wanted to, and it just turned out so amazing, and I couldn't be happier with the results. Honestly, if I had to pick a favorite look from this entire Halloween series, I would probably say it's her, just because it just turned out better than I could have expected. I absolutely loved it. Next, we have my favorite beauty Halloween makeup tutorials. So the first one is the Glam Ghostbuster. This one was so much fun. I loved doing the little bit of slime SFX on my face. That was super fun to do, but overall, like with the lime green eyeshadow, it's a very easy makeup look for anybody to do if you want to be a Ghostbuster for Halloween, and it was just so much fun. I loved the costume. I loved personalizing the tag to say Bone Daddy, which is one of my nicknames and my Twitter handle, and so that was so much fun, and it was just an absolutely, like, I loved that tutorial. It was so fun. I didn't want to take it off, and I loved everything about it. And my second favorite glam makeup tutorial was Zool. Now, Zool was one that I also have been putting off for a while because I've just been so excited to transform myself into her, and so I actually had her planned for last Halloween, and I didn't get around to doing her, so I saved her for this Halloween, and I'm so happy I did because I just absolutely loved her makeup. I love her makeup in the movie because it's so simple but so sultry, and it's also really iconic. It's such an iconic style. It very much suits the time period, and so I've always been really excited to do that, and I like how I styled the wig. I'm actually really happy it looked pretty accurate, especially with adding the gold hairspray, and I was kind of worried about that, but it really did help lighten the wig and help add a little bit more dimension. And then just the makeup, I absolutely loved it. I'd actually gotten up at like 6 a.m. to film that morning because I had to go pick up the new phone from the Apple store at like noon, and so I wanted to make sure I had enough time to film it, and I just remember being so butt tired filming this look because I'd already stayed up until like 3 in the morning the night before filming something. Also, I can't even switch over to my new iPhone yet because I have to finish posting the TikToks because TikTok drafts save to your phone, not your account. So I literally have to post all of these TikToks before I can even transfer over, and I'm just like, I just want better camera quality, that's all I want. And storage. I need more storage. But yeah, I absolutely loved Zool. I loved how it turned out, and I know a lot of people actually dress up as her for Halloween, so I'm really happy that I was able to create a tutorial for her since I don't think there have been a lot of tutorials for her so far. Next is favorite videos to edit. So these ones are kind of like series, I guess, like series within my Halloween series because I just really enjoyed doing them a lot. So the first one is all of my Scream characters. It was Casey, Sydney, Billy, and Ghostface, and I don't know why, I just loved editing all of those videos. I feel like the music worked really well with all of them. I loved the intro for all of the videos. It kind of just gave it a good way to start out. I took the intro from the movie to kind of like help a little bit. So it was just so much fun to put together, and I really enjoyed editing them. It was mostly the intros for them that I was just having such a fun time editing. And the other little series is my Sanderson sisters. Now these characters are some of my favorite characters that I've ever done, and I feel like they're kind of definitely their own category, but I will put them in here because editing them was just absolutely a blast. I loved picking out music for these tutorials because it was just so much fun. And then also I'm really excited because the TikToks that I filmed with him were so much fun, and so I guess like editing those as well. There's a lot of the videos that I made that have the 3 of them together, which I thought was really fun. So just anything with editing these 3 characters was just absolutely a blast. The only thing that I despised, I hated editing the book tutorial in my Winifred Sanderson video just because there was over 8 hours of footage, and that's just footage. That's just what I recorded of the book. I hated cutting that down. It was not a good time. It was so time consuming, and that is something that I really despise. But everything else was fine. I wish that could have just already been edited because it was just so difficult finding the right things to cut, and so that wasn't a good time, but everything else editing wise was fantastic. And last but not least, the character I had the most difficulty with. Now there's always things that go wrong every Halloween. I actually think that there's like a techie ghost that follows me because every single Halloween something happens that messes up editing like in the most important time possible. So whether it be my hard drive falls and breaks multiple times. Thankfully that didn't happen this year, but my hard drive did break this year in the middle of editing, and it put me like 3 days behind, but not fully behind. I just ended up uploading videos on the weekend to make up for it, but it messed me up, and I was at a wedding. I was literally at a wedding. I was a bridesmaid in one of my best friend's weddings, and I literally was upstairs the night before on phone with Apple because my editing software on my hard drive broke along with all of the videos that I had been editing. Now I was smart this year because I've had years where I've actually lost footage and stuff, and thankfully I keep them on my SD card. So thankfully if anything happened, I had all of the footage on my SD cards, but I spend so much time editing, and like this has my intros and outros and you know my like little logos and stuff on it already that I would have to like re-hunt down and figure out. So I was so stressed, and I was on the phone with Apple for like 3 hours, and finally we were able to kind of figure it out, but it was definitely stressful thinking that I wouldn't be able to get this editing back that I had already done. So there's always something tech-wise that goes wrong, and I just know to plan for it every year. And I can only plan for it as best I can, like having a backup hard drive with all of the footage on it, but I can't have like a backup editing, if that makes sense. So I really do my best with the tech aspect to be as prepared as possible because every single year without fail, either something breaks on the hard drive itself breaks once or multiple times after I get new ones, and just things go wrong. So there's always some kind of issue on the technological side every October. But the biggest issue I had this year, I would say, was honestly Maleficent, which I was not expecting. So I have been really excited to transform myself into the Angelina Jolie version of Maleficent for years, ever since it first came out. But everyone was doing it the first year, so I decided to kind of put it off. And maybe she's not as relevant now, but this is when I decided to do her. So I was really excited to transform myself into her this year because this is actually the first tutorial that I've ever bought prosthetic pieces to apply on my face. Normally, I always make my prosthetics because I like to be able to show you guys how you can make them at home, but this was the one that, because the skin is so smooth, I really just wanted to kind of buy some and support a small business while I was at it. So I decided to buy prosthetic pieces. So the thing with prosthetics is once you wear them, you cannot reuse them. You're not supposed to reuse them. For my big prosthetic pieces that I make, I keep them because they look really cool and they basically are just masks at that point. So I like to have them on display. But for like chin pieces, brow pieces, cheekbone pieces, you can't really do anything with them afterwards, and you're not supposed to rewear them. It's just not what you do. So the issues I encountered with this look were actually the contact lenses. Now, I don't think that the contact lenses themselves were defective. I think it could have been something I did, because sometimes contact lenses dry out and I just like rehydrate them with the solution, and for the most part, they're okay. But sometimes they don't come back to life the way that they did before, and they can be scratchy. Well, I think my contact lens scratched my eye. So what this caused is I had my contact lenses in, and like I noticed my eyes were burning a little bit, but sometimes it just takes like 5 seconds to adjust and then they're fine. Well, this eye was fine, but this eye was still kind of uncomfortable. And so I went ahead, I applied the prosthetic pieces, and I was able to start putting on the base, and like the look was really starting to come together in the sense of the base with the prosthetic. And all of a sudden, this eye, it almost felt like it was swelling. And I don't know how else to explain it, but it literally felt like it was swelling. And I was like, ooh, that's really uncomfortable. I don't like that. I don't know what that is, and sometimes it's like, oh, the air hitting the contact lens because I have like fans and stuff, because with the lights it gets really hot in here. So I try to take like some measures to help alleviate, you know, any discomfort with contact lenses. And I wear contact lenses daily, so I kind of don't usually have a lot of issues with them. And so it's kind of a rarity, but this has happened to me before. And so I was definitely trying to like, you know, alleviate any stress on the eye. And it got to the point to where I actually just like took the contact lenses out, and that seemed to help a little bit. So then I like just waited, and I was like, okay, seems to be a little bit better. So I put the contact lenses back in, and I very quickly realized a pattern, and there ended up being like a time limit that I had while wearing these contact lenses before my eyes basically couldn't stop watering, were throbbing, and were just in pain. And so I'd put the contact lenses back in, not really knowing that that was the exact problem yet. And all of a sudden, I just was in so much pain with my left eye, and it literally felt like it was swelling. So I just had to like stop, and I just like was letting my eyes water, and I was doing the best I could to not like let it get onto the prosthetic, which of course I did the best I could, but basically the makeup didn't look as good as it could have because of how my eyes were watering and how I had to keep reapplying makeup to the prosthetic pieces to kind of re-liven it up throughout the day, because this happened 3 times and it was awful. And so I completely considered, you know, taking the prosthetic pieces off and just doing it another day, but I wouldn't have the prosthetic pieces shipped to me in time, because unfortunately the creator lives in London, and so it would take about a month with COVID and everything for them to get here, because that's how long it took in the first place. So I wouldn't get them in time for Halloween this year. So then it was kind of like, okay, well, do I just do like kind of what I did for Morticia and just like use body paint and stuff? And I was really having to like figure this out. And so I just decided to go lay downstairs, and the only thing that would help was to close my eyes. And I didn't even sleep, because I was afraid to sleep in the makeup completely. So I just like had to like relax and close my eyes. And each time this happened, it would take an hour and a half to 3 hours for my eye to be back to normal. And so at this point I was like, okay, I might have just like cut my eye. It might just be a little irritated. You know, the contact has been sitting in the solution a little bit longer. So, you know, maybe if it was a little dry for whatever reason, it could like rehydrate. And so I literally, while I'm laying on the couch downstairs, I'm having to figure out like my makeup is already starting to get messed up from this situation. My eyes are puffy and swollen, and therefore it made this area swollen, which ended up making the prosthetic look a little bit weirder than it would have naturally, because if you guys look at when I first applied the prosthetic, It looked so good. I was so excited about it. And just the more I had to apply makeup, the more the edges started to like look less blended because I was having to like go over it multiple times and like it ended up looking more cakey, but I was doing the best I could with the situation I was going through. So then finally when it was a little bit better and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take it easy, I'm gonna go upstairs, and if I can wear the contact lenses, I'm gonna finish filming as fast as I can, and then I'm gonna take them out and like let my eyes breathe and stuff like that. In hindsight, I really should have just like left the contact lenses out until last minute with the poses and with the photographs. However, I decided to put them back in and it felt comfortable. And I was like, okay, great. I'm gonna try and get this finished. I literally got to the point to where like I was doing my eyelashes and it started throbbing again. And I knew I immediately had to take them out. I wouldn't be able to get any photos because my eye was already like starting to swell and get uncomfortable. So I took the contact lenses out and I had to go downstairs. And this one took even longer than the first time. This one took like 3 hours for my eyes to feel better. This tutorial that should have realistically taken about like 3 to 4 hours to film, I got started at noon and I finished filming at 10:30 at night because of all of these pauses. And like unfortunately these breaks weren't even breaks that I could like enjoy myself or anything. I literally had to like sit and try and relax and keep my eyes closed and just like wait for them to start to feel better. So like I would try and like turn on a podcast or like music or something because I'm just trying to relax so my eye can start to feel better. And it was so frustrating because I just wanted to be able to finish filming this, but I wanted to do it right, and it was important for me to be able to make sure that everything like turned out well. And honestly, I could have just scratched my eye the night before or something like that. Like I don't even know if the contact lens specifically had anything to do with it because I even put my normal contact lenses in afterwards and even those were uncomfortable on this eye. So I feel like I might have just scratched my eye that day, but your eyes are so sensitive and don't like that. So once my eye was feeling better, I went upstairs and as quickly as I could, I got the photos, I did the intro and outro, and I filmed my TikToks, and then I finally took them out. And I was so happy. And at that point, I was just wearing glasses for the rest of the evening because I still need to see. I don't have the greatest eyesight, so I still need glasses to be able to like function. And so I was just wearing glasses or not wearing anything at all and just like relaxing. And that definitely helped a lot. I think I scratched my eye, but it caused so many issues. And it mostly frustrated me because that look would have been way more seamless appearance wise if that wasn't happening, because my eyes unfortunately were still swollen and it looked cakey under because I had to just keep like layering the makeup because I kept like crying it off essentially. And it was definitely frustrating because it definitely should have looked more seamless than it turned out, but I couldn't help the situation. And I really had to make sure I was like using my time wisely. And I was trying to figure out like, okay, well if I do film this another day, like I was really having to figure out like, okay, well when do I have time to do that? I really have like everything for October, like in September, August, October, like scheduled very strictly so I can make sure I can get everything done for Halloween. And then everything in October I have to make sure that I have like edited, and you know, it's definitely a very strict process that I have to create for myself. And so I was really just trying to figure out like, what do I do? And I really wanted to use those prosthetics, and so I'm really happy that I was able to make it work. And I don't think it is as noticeable, maybe. I know I just critique myself a lot, but I do think to some people, you know, it wasn't as seamless as it should be. I think what I taught is still very much accurate and appropriate. I just wish that the turnout would have looked a little bit more how it would have realistically if I didn't encounter those issues. But overall, love Maleficent. I still love how she turned out. That ended up being a lot of people's favorites from my Halloween season. Like a lot of people that I know personally were telling me that she was their favorite character. So for me that means a lot because it makes me happy that, you know, other people still got to enjoy it. I just know the issues I went through behind the scenes while filming her, that just, it was so difficult. I've only had that issue once, and I can't at the moment remember what character it was with that I was having contact lens issues, but usually it's whenever I have to wear the white net lenses. Those can cause some issues sometimes. Or sclera lenses. Sclera lenses give me a lot of issues sometimes just because they're so big. Like, those are just uncomfortable. But this one, it was definitely just like, whew, uncomfy. Very uncomfy. So anyways, that is it for my Halloween recap. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it, and thank you all so much for supporting me this Halloween season. Make sure you stick around because the next series I have coming up is my 12 days of SFXmas. I do this every year. I didn't do it last year though, just because, you know, seasonal depression hit really hard, and just depression hit really hard last year, that I ended up just deciding to skip it last year, which was a really hard decision because I love 12 days of SFXmas, but there's just a lot of stuff going on in my personal life last year, especially with family, that I was just like, nah, I'm not gonna do it. So I'm really excited because I'm already getting started on filming for this year's 12 days of SFXmas. I'm just going to be planning on uploading these 12 tutorials sometime in the month of December. Now, ideally, I am shooting for the first 12 days, but don't be surprised if like I miss a day or two. I'm still uploading the 12 videos. They're just going to be somewhere in the month of December. They're 12 days of Christmas, just not necessarily right after the other. I'd like to, that's the goal, but they're just gonna be throughout the month of December. So once again, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you're subscribed so that you can see my 12 days of SFXmas coming up, hopefully starting December 1st. And so with all that being said, thank you all so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!